Week 1 of training camp for the New York Giants is just wrapping up, and there's a couple of different players that I want to talk about. Some players that are surprises and some people that aren't. And one of the first players we're going to be talking about is Darren Waller. Darren Waller during training camp has looked motivated, and he's looked just as big as advertised as we would think. Darren Waller is 6'6", but I don't know about you guys, but seeing him on the field against some RDVs, like, he is just a giant. Like, he's literally just a giant. Not only is he 6'6", but he's also fast, and we've seen that on display already. Waller has been tearing up our Giants defense, and obviously I'm a little torn because is our defense just playing bad or is he playing really good? I definitely think that Waller is an extreme talent, and he's going to be able to showcase that, but I also think that the Giants need to be a little better in terms of locking this man down, but that's what his practice is for. You know, we're not going to double cover him in practice. In the games, he's probably going to see a lot of double teams, but in practice, we're not going to see that. So he's a mismatch for everybody. You've seen safeties being put on him. You've seen linebackers being put on him. Nobody can really guard this man one-on-one. And fresh out the gate, DANIELJONES is throwing it to him a lot. The tweet that somebody put out, I'm not too sure who said it, but they were saying that Darren Waller is off the field, so now DANIELJONES actually has to throw to somebody else. We all know that this is the most talented wide receiver / tight end that DANIELJONES has had to work with already. So Darren Waller is going to be our security blanket, and it looks like DANIELJONES is already knowing that and already targeting him a lot. You've seen even different plays where he's just throwing it up to him and he makes a play. He leaps over the defenders and makes the catches. So I'm definitely excited for that. I knew Darren Waller was going to be a game changer. It's just about if he can stay healthy. I expect the Giants to continue to manage him as much as they can in terms of not having him do too much and not having him do stuff that, you know, we're not going to command him and demand him to do certain things and he ends up injured. So I definitely think the Giants are going to be careful with that because Darren Waller, we know he can be an extreme talent. He just has to stay on the field. So that's something to look forward to. Another guy who's been tearing up camp so far. I'll talk about two different guys. It's going to be Paris Campbell and Darius Slayton. So Darius Slayton, as we know, continues to work on his game. Last couple seasons, Darius Slayton has been our main contributor and probably the best receiver on this team. But going into the camp now, he's been working on his hands and he's looking really good. I'm not going to lie. But it's never about practice. It's always about the game for him. You know, we know that Darius Slayton has the speed. We know he can make tough catches. But sometimes he just makes too easy catches look hard. He just ends up dropping them. So hopefully Darius Slayton continues to pick it up because low-key in camp, he's been taking the top off of defense. Through camp, he's been making some nice plays. And once again, this is only training camp, so we can't hype it up completely. But we should be excited because DANIELJONES has been playing well and throwing to these other receivers and new receivers such as Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell just made a crazy catch yesterday. Elite ball placement by DANIELJONES. And if y'all seen it, then y'all seen it. But Paris Campbell is obviously another guy that he's coming in. You know, he has a lot to prove. You know, he just came off his first year where he was completely healthy. Now going in for the Giants is probably the best quarterback he's played with, I think. And I definitely think that Paris Campbell could be a difference maker, not only in the slot, but possibly on the outside. Paris Campbell's fast. He's had some injuries, so he might not be as fast, but I definitely think he can still be a good change of pace. And once again, I've been saying it for all offseason. I think he can be better than Richie James. If Richie James can produce, I think he can too. So shout out to Paris Campbell. But Jalin Hyatt is another guy we have to talk about. We've been seeing his elite speed on display. And there was even a couple things that were noted where DANIELJONES was asking how fast was he running. He said he topped 24 miles an hour, which is the fastest you will see on the football field, hands down. Now, I want to see what that looks like when you have some pads on your legs and shoulder pads. As you know, the New York Giants haven't been fully padded yet. They actually go fully padded today. But Jalin Hyatt still looks like he's a burner. And the first couple of days, he didn't really have too many opportunities. And he was a little, I guess, it was a little frustrating for him, I'm assuming. Dable had to cheer him up a little bit. But the last couple of practices, the last 3 practices, he's been taken off, you know, even on one-on-one drills and all these different 11-on-11 scrimmages. So he's been looking good. I just hope that he continues to build off of that because, once again, I don't expect him to step in and be a wide receiver 1. But if he can have 4 touchdowns this upcoming season, that's a W for me. A touchdown where he'll score for 60 yards out. We'll see when we get there, but I'm excited to see what Jalin Hyatt is doing. As you know, the man, Danny Dimes, after getting the bag, he just looks really comfortable. Year 2 in the system, a lot more confident. You see him throwing the ball down the field a lot more, and probably some of the main reasons to do with that is not only him getting his bag, so he's a lot more confident, but also getting more weapons. DANIELJONES can actually show his arm strength off now because everyone says he can't throw the ball. For some reason, nobody thinks that he can throw the ball far when he's been one of the most accurate quarterbacks when it came to throwing the ball deep. So I don't know what everyone's talking about, but they're going to see it differently this year because, listen, Jalin Hyatt, Paris Campbell, Darius Slayton. We're going to have guys that can really take the top off of defense and actually put defenders in a bad position. Daniel Jones is probably going to let it rip. So I'm excited to see that. He's looked super accurate. But once again, I want to see what it looks like in full pads. I want to see what it looks like when he's under duress. This is only training camp. This is the only thing we can talk about. But listen, I'm excited because, I mean, I'm wearing this Yankees tee, but the Yankees have been trashed recently. So, you know, I'm just excited for football to be back and us to cover football all together. But Daniel Jones looks sharp, and I hope that he stays sharp going into the season. Now, switching to the defensive side of the ball, not too much to talk about, especially with the D-line. There's nothing to talk about. But Trey Hawkins, our 6th-round pick out of Old Dominion, the same school that X went to. I'm not talking about Xavier McKinney. Trey Hawkins is looking like he could potentially be a good player for us. 6th-round picks sometimes don't even make the team. But he's stepping up, guarding guys one-on-one. And granted, you know, some of them are against guys like Jeff Smith. He's not guarding Darren Waller. But he hasn't really got beat on a lot of plays. You know, at the end of the day, good offense is always going to beat good defense, but he hasn't really got completely wiped out, you know, ankles broken or anything like that. Trey Hawkins has been sticking like glue, and he's already made a couple highlights with a couple interceptions and a couple pass breakups. So that's intriguing to look at, because yesterday they played him on the outside along with Banks, and they played Adoree Jackson in the slot. So, you know, it's really intriguing to see what's going to happen with that. Obviously, Cordell Flott is someone that can also play the slot too, and he's been okay from what I've seen. You know, he's had some up and down days, but this is what training camp is for. There's going to be position battles, and I definitely want to see what's going to happen in that slot corner and cornerback altogether. As you know, we were absent for a quarterback too for a little while now. You know, with Adoree Jackson being our one true corner that we know that we can trust, I'm excited to see what Deonte Banks can do, where his camp has not started off great at all. He needs to continue to get the reps. We know he has the physical traits. We know he has all the talent in terms of having the speed, having the measurables, having all those things. He just needs to continue to be put in that position. And cornerback is probably the hardest position in football besides quarterback. That's just how I feel. I played cornerback in high school. Cornerback is tough. So I expect him to get more reps and he'll get more comfortable. I'm not too worried about that. But Trey Hawkins coming out of nowhere, that would be really good to see if he can be a difference maker for the team. Giants do suit up today for a fully padded practice, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen out of that and see if these guys can still translate. I want to see Jalen Hyatt still hit 24 miles an hour like that. But we'll talk about that when we see it, man. If this is your first time here, join the Juke family. Subscribe down below. Roots and Tech is active, man. Comment down below your thoughts on training camp so far. I'm excited for all football together, so this preseason game is about to hit too. If you haven't seen my other videos, I got more videos to the left right here, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
What's going on, family? Back on here with the Juke, man.
And calling all the Daniel Jones haters, pull up to this video, watch this video real quick. The New York Yankees lose the series. We get swept back in the third quarter. The third quarter was really when we started to make our moves. And DeMar, banger.
Make sure you subscribe to the Juke.